We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that.
That is the promise from U.S. President Donald Trump, another big hike in tariffs on steel and aluminum as early as Wednesday. Here's part of the response today from Canada's industry minister.
This rhetoric coming out of the White House is extremely preoccupying, but meanwhile, no executive order has been signed. That's why we'll continue to fight with counter tariffs to protect our workers and to make sure that we build national projects.
All right, well, for more on this latest threat, I'm joined by Cobden, President and CEO of the Canadian Steel Producers Association. Ms. Cobden, good to see you. Now, we just heard from Melanie Joly, who also tells MPs today that she's been reaching out to business and labor leaders. What have you and your members been hearing from the government on this?
Well, in fact, we're waiting to hear the most important information from the government, which I did not hear in that clip, and I'm still waiting. Frankly, it's under the authority of Minister Champagne. We are looking to the Canadian government to urgently put in place tariffs at our border now that the U.S. has, limited access, if you will, to their market at 25%. And apparently in a day or two from now, it'll be up to 50%. I can guarantee you, Andrew, that we will have much more unfairly traded steel in our market, and we'll see even greater challenges than we already do today. So for us, we've done, the homework was conducted over the course of the campaign by the Liberal government. And now we're just waiting for the decision-making to come out of the finance minister's office. Tell us, what would the effect be of this raise to a 50% tariff? Because the 25% is serious enough as it stands. So going up to that 50% level, just how big would the damage be for Canadian steel producers? Very good. I mean, at 25%, we've seen hundreds of job losses. We've seen production curtailment. At 50%, we're essentially going to see the U.S. market completely closed to Canadian steel. That is 6.5 million tons of steel that goes to the United States that will no longer have market as of 12:01 on Wednesday morning. So can the sector then offset that kind of damage with other markets in the short term, whether here at home or abroad? The only hope we have is to have access, is really to recapture the Canadian market. And a vast majority of the Canadian market is using unfairly traded steel. So we have very sophisticated proposals into the government that say, put up these tariffs in this way. Show the United States that we're in the same game as they are, and also that we basically, ensure that we're putting the same constraints on U.S. steel while they're tariffing us. It's truly not an acceptable situation where we are today, where the retaliatory measures that the Canadian government has taken on steel are really not sufficient coverage at this moment, as not the same steels are covered, and we need much more retaliation as well. And I know you've said you are waiting for more fulsome response from the government on what their potential response would be, but are you getting signals from the government, from ministers, of their reaction to what it is that you want to put on the table, what you've just been talking about? Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, we are definitely hearing from them. And even in your clip, we have been hearing about Buy Canadian and Canadian projects. And that is a laudable goal, and we're really excited by that prospect. But by the time we get to that circumstance, we may not have a Canadian industry. If our U.S. market closes in 2 days and we have done nothing to protect our industry from unfair trade at our border, we can have as many projects as possible out there, but they're not going to be served by Canadian steel. It's going to take weeks or months for those projects to roll out. We do not have that kind of time. All right, we'll have to leave it there. Cobden of the Canadian Steel Producers Association, appreciate your time on this. Thank you very much.